So one morning you will walk down to the garden and you will find that your cool weather crops are no longer growing flat out with their leaves, but are going straight up. They're looking vertical. That's called bolting. And then they'll flower, and when they flower, the leaves become bitter. I'm letting some flower and seed. I pulled all the ones that, by the root, I pulled all the ones that have not begun to bolt. You have to act rather quickly on this. And you can check if you want to save some of the leaves and see, just eat them and see if they really are bitter. If they're not, you can eat them. This is also happening to the spinach. Where'd the spinach go? Here it is. Here's the spinach. And if you eat them mixed, you can go ahead and freeze them mixed if you want. You can try to save them with row covers as we did the other day, but there's a point where even row covers don't work. It's simply too hot and the sun is too bright in July. But you can get a second season crop with most of these if you plant in early fall. And that's why I'm letting the garden do the work. I will let it seed itself. You can see that some of these seeds, Scooby-Doo, let's see, we don't have, this is the arugula. It's not seeded yet, but I think I have some that was planted earlier. Let's see how it is. This is yarrow, which reseeds. That's why I have so much. This is the broccoli, and I am letting it, you see these seeds, they're growing, they're green. When they get a little more mature, they will open and drop, and I will probably save some of them for next year. I'll take them out and dry them and save them for next spring. Not sure if I'll do, I'm going to let this reseed. This side bolted, I felt, earlier than it should have, but these ones have behaved better. I can't remember because I don't document them if they were from different seeds. So I'm more inclined to save these seeds than the others. So I'm not going to fret too much if I just let them reseed now and see what happens. Oh, here's some arugula with some seeds. So those are starting to develop. You can see this Bibb lettuce has done great. I mean, it's growing taller, more spindly than lettuce should, but it does not show signs of flowering. If I had more time, I'd put more earth under them, but I think instead I'll just eat them. Once I've selected the leaves of mustard from the garden, I'll go to the compost pile and rip off the roots with the dirt and mud on them, and then bring it to the house. And at this point, I'll put them in a colander and separate. I'll decide which ones are in good enough shape to freeze. You don't want anything that's yellowish or too insect ridden. For instance, if it has little peckers, those always disturb me. You want something that has enough integrity that it's going to last through a freeze. I grow mine organically, so I don't spray any chemicals that would kill insects. So mine are not going to be picture perfect, which is okay as long as they're tasty and healthy. So it's no problem for me if there are some if there's some insect damage, as long as the insects aren't still on them and they haven't yellowed or look compromised in any other way. So I will rinse them. Right now you can see these are still muddy. Then take a second assessment. Like I won't keep that one. That's the reject pile. Then I'll put them in the salad spinner, which is super cool to get them very dry. I like this part, but I can't hold the... and it's important to get them as dry as you can, but not expose them to the air for terribly long. You want to get them in the deep freeze as quickly as possible. And then quickly put them in some freezer-proof bags, label them, what they are and the date, and then put them in the deep freeze. And I've got mustard greens for the next few months. I keep mine longer than I should, I'm sure, but they've always been tasty. I'll sort through the rejects and the ones that still look healthy to cook today but might not survive freezing, I will eat. I use a xylene-free marker because I don't want toxins in with my edibles, and I don't like to inhale them. I try not to use sharper markers like Sharpies that give me a headache anyway, and pack them fairly loosely, and more than this, I'm still packing them, but I just can't video and pack them at the same time, and get them close to the top, but still leave at least an inch, get all the air out of it, but just leave an inch for good measure. The choice of the size of bags is really up to you. I do single servings. It looks like a lot, but greens really shrink when you cook them. I like to saute mine in a little olive oil with garlic, and then add a bit of vinegar and balsamic. That's always on my mind when I say vinegar. Vinegar and soy sauce at the very end, and you can just feel the iron infusing your blood when you eat it, so it feels good to me. And then the larger ones I have it's hard to know what this pandemic will hold, but I'm hoping that we will have some family or holiday gatherings where we give thanks, and it's always cool to pull out the harvest, something else to be grateful for. I'll probably freeze some blueberries today, have blueberry pies and whatever I can conjure up. I've got the potatoes and turnips. Mashed potatoes with turnips are awesome.